Coach, your assessment so far of camp offense?
Good and bad. Good and bad. We've had some positive things that have gone on, and then we've had things we got to be sharper at. No different than any other training camp early on. So yeah, there's been plenty of things to teach off of and build off of, which is ultimately what we're looking to do right now is keep teaching and keep progressing and get better every day.
How would you evaluate Joe? I mean, he seems like when he was talking to us, his concern is his presence in the pocket and trying to get to the point where he doesn't see them, but he feels them. How would you evaluate him?
I think he's got some things that he's working through coming off of surgery. You know, where's Paul? Is he here? Not here. Paul asked me at the luncheon, you know, what did I think would be the biggest thing for him to overcome, and it's the confidence. It's the ability to stand back there in the pocket against the live rush and feel like you don't ever have to think about it. And we're not there yet, and that's not to be that's expected, to be honest with you. I don't know if Joe expected it or not, but I've seen enough guys with injuries and coming back that it takes some time to get comfortable again and get confidence back without having to think about anything other than doing your job at the elite level. So I'm sure that that's definitely a part of all that. And the only way to get better and more confident is just to keep going out there and getting back behind the pocket and playing football. So I got no worries about that, really. I think that Joe will be where he needs to be by the time he needs to be there. That's come the second weekend of September.
All right, you said that you guys are going to try to do some things in 7-on-7s and 1-on-1s to simulate some of that too. How much of that is, again, just throwing even more out and just to keep constantly putting the pressure on them?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's just going to be a chance for us to simulate even more things, to try to steal more reps of people being around him and him feeling the presence of stuff around him. And obviously in the spring, we didn't let anybody near him. In 7-on-7, there's nobody near him. He looks great in 7-on-7. So if we were going to go play an AAU tournament, I'd feel really good. But, you know, we're going to go play football. I mean, there's live people, and there's going to be people on his feet, his legs. He's going to get hit. And those things are what we're progressing towards. It doesn't happen quickly. So if we can steal a few more reps of just having people around him, he'll be tired of me. I'll be hanging around in front of him, next to him, beside him, just making him feel something other than space.
So it's going to be you. It's going to be the coaches when you're going to be around him.
Yeah, it'll be me because Pitch will be working with the other quarterbacks, and I'm pretty free for that kind of stuff. So a lot of teaching and coaching I do is usually off the tape later. So I'll go jump in there. We'll recruit some other people to come stand around and just make them a little bit uncomfortable if we can, just to get them used to that feeling.
So what do you think about his mechanics overall? How are his mechanics overall? How has he responded to it?
All of that stuff's been fine. It's just a matter of you know, it's occasionally there's somebody in front of them, and you may not fully want to have the confidence to step into the throw and really lean into it the way that you used to. And that's just a product of coming back from an injury. So mechanically, it looks great. The ball's coming out like it always does. It's got plenty of pop on it. It's just the pocket presence part that's taking some time and some reps to get back into the mode of playing.
When you see Joe overthrow a couple of guys, is that an indication that he maybe is trying to get rid of the ball a little too early in the pocket, maybe because he senses things, or is that reading too much into it?
That's probably a little too much into it, but there is a part of it where a miss on a throw that he normally would hit with his eyes closed, those are the ones where you go, yeah, he's probably feeling something somewhere that doesn't quite feel comfortable. So there's a lot of reasons for that, as far as weight transfer and being able to step into a throw and all those things. But you know, other than that, it's not abnormal to see those types of things when he misses a throw to kind of know where it's coming from, because he doesn't miss very many.
What's the most impressive part of Burrow's camp so far?
The fact that he's out there stepping in the batter's box every time and taking swings. You know, to be back where he's at the time frame that he's been back and being able to participate fully. With the amount of work that it took to get there, I think is really incredible, to be honest. And when he gets to get out there in the live reps, you feel like he's where he wants to be, in a place that he's not quite at, and that's where frustration can stem from. But I think that the work that he put in to get to this point, that we're even having this conversation, I think it is pretty remarkable, and he deserves a ton of credit for that. Trust me, there's nobody that has more faith in him than I do to be ready for when it's time to go play football.
Coach, when you look,
accuracy may not be there, but you like his decision making and where the ball's going. I mean, he did a couple times when he had the rush around him. His decision making, is that?
Yeah, his decision making has been spot on. He hasn't missed a beat there as far as diagnosing the defense and seeing what's happening and knowing and responding. So that part of it's been great. You know, no different than it was a year ago. I would say he's getting better at commanding the whole show. And that part of there's been no effects whatsoever in that regard. So that part's been positive.
You're saying like, you know, he not got where he wants to be, kind of thing. The only guy that can get in there is himself, right? There's not much else anybody else can do really at this point.
No, you just try to keep getting reps. That's really all it comes down to. Is the more times you can make yourself and put yourself in an uncomfortable position, the next time it's a little more comfortable, and the next time a little bit more than that. So you stack a bunch of those together between now and September. I think you get to where you want to be.
Coach, when you look at the when you look at this offense, you're looking at it totally different than any of us could ever imagine. Are you happy with the things that you want to see in this offense as far as day to day?
Day to day, yeah. I think we got a lot of work to do still. You know, I think the great thing about our players right now is they are confident in what they're capable of achieving. They have they have the potential to be really good. And my job is to look at it and the flip side and say that, yeah, those things are all nice, but we got a lot of work to do before we get to that point. And our guys are putting the work in. That's not to say that they're not working. They're doing it. They're doing everything they can to improve every day. But you know, all the talk is good. The confidence is good. We understand that there's expectations, and that's an exciting thing. I like the fact that people expect things from our group, and they should, because it's a young, talented, confident group. And so a couple of practices, getting their feet underneath them and getting used to playing together. We got plenty of time to get where we need to get to, but my job is to make sure we get there. And there's plenty of work to be done to get to that point.
It seems like the receivers, they seem to be kind of beat off. They kind of drop some balls. Do you think they're pressing? Are they pressing to make a play? Or?
No, not yet. I don't feel that from them yet. I think there's been opportunities in practice to make some plays that we haven't. I think there's also been quite a few times the guys have made some pretty nice catches. So those things come and go, and especially when you're talking about lower percentage passes down the field. You know, some of those you're going to make, and over the course of a training camp, some you're going to miss. And so I would like to make a whole lot more than we miss, but you will miss them occasionally. I don't feel them pressing. I just feel guys trying to get better. You know, Jamar is trying to get more comfortable. It's a lot of offense we put in. Our installation is relatively close to done. Today was kind of 2-minute install, and really there's not much else schematically we're going to put in. So now it's a chance to kind of re-up it again, go through it again, and get more comfortable. So I think those guys are doing everything we're asking them to do, and there's the plays that come. I think when you try to step out of yourself and do more than what's asked of you on a given play, I think that's when you see guys start to press and they start going off the script and abandoning technique and doing things that they don't normally do. So I don't see that yet. So I don't feel a press from our guys yet.
You mentioned install. You're the teacher, players, the students. How's the install going? Is their retention pretty good with what you are installing? Are you pleased with the mental part of the league? The execution is not quite there yet, but mentally they know what to do.
I think our mental, we have a really smart group, and they've done a really nice job of handling the volume. And you know, our philosophy the whole time was to throw as much as we possibly could at them before this first game, try to get everything in a roughly 10-day period or so, and then step back and go back through it again and go through it again. And that way you kind of see what sticks and you see where the learning issues are, and then you can revisit those struggles as you move forward. So I think those guys have done a great job as far as knowing assignments, knowing what to do and when to do it, and then the next step is to execute those things at a high level on the field versus competition with a bunch of guys that are trying to make you not able to do your job. So that's kind of how it kind of works in phases, and we're doing a good job so far, and we'll keep pushing through it.
Can you evaluate your guard play on the offensive line from Jordan, Spade, and Sofilo Carmen?
Yeah, those guys have competed hard. Q's been kind of in and out here the last day or so with a minor injury, so he hasn't got to compete fully. Xavier's done a nice job. He brings some veteran leadership and savviness. Jackson's a young player, and he's learning every day. He's making plenty of mistakes, but he's learning from them, and the goal is to not make them again. You know, we try to preach to our guys that you don't make the same mistake twice. If you make it once, learn from it, and do the next thing, get better the next time. When you see that look again, or you see that technique again that's needed, don't make the same one. Do it the right way the second time. You know, he had a little cadence issue, and then when you jump off sides a couple times in the third down period, it's frustrating and it looks bad, but that's the first time he's really seen Joe use his cadence, and Joe, I think, is potentially one of the best using his cadence in the league. I think we were first or second, somewhere at the top of drawing neutral zone infractions. So it's a weapon for us, and Jackson's getting used to it a little bit because Joe's really good at using his cadence. But I would say those guys have competed hard. They're physical, and that's gonna be a battle that's gonna go probably the length up until we got to determine a starting lineup for the first game.
Brian, the preseason starts a week from today. I know you're not going to tell me if Joe's playing or not, but is there anything he needs to show you so you're comfortable with putting him out there?
That's a good question. I really haven't gotten that far. For me, mentally, it's not really a decision that I get to make, so I'm trying to concern myself with it. But he just got to feel confident enough that he would want to go out to a live rush. And if he is and he wants to do it, and everybody that's in charge of that decision says yes, then I'm all for it. And if we decide that's not what we're going to do, then so be it. I don't know that him playing or not playing would necessarily determine whether he is comfortable or not. It's kind of a vague answer for you, but I just don't know that. I think we're focused kind of on day to day, and when we get to that point, I could pretty well say he likely won't play in this first one, and maybe the second or third one. If he does, it might be in that time frame. So it's kind of where we're at.
You know how much some of your other guys might play in the first game, Joe or any of those guys?
No, we'll have a meeting. We'll have a meeting here on our next off day, so after Monday, and we'll determine as we get ready for the week of practice what the starters are going to play, what guys are going to play longer than others, and where they fit. So sometime early next week, we'll kind of nail that down. We have some outlines of what we think we might want to do, but it's new with 3 preseason games this year. We're kind of curious and see how other teams are going to go about it too. And is it the traditional preseason game? Nobody plays, and so we're still working through some of those things.
Given
Traffic
that,
you were talking about with the 7-on-7, how exactly is that going to look? Is it just guys standing around? Are they going to be swinging pads at all? I mean, not hitting them, obviously. But
No, we don't want to interfere too much with his, kind of processing as he's working in 7-on-7, but just more presence, just being around. So when he's dropping back, there's the feeling of something around him. Won't be too close to get anybody too nervous, but we'll be around him, and it's just trying to get another rep or so of being in a pocket.
whose idea was that to do that?
Joe actually had asked for it. We have done some, we do the individual stuff every day, and yesterday we did, the last couple of days we did quite a bit of just pocket movement and pitchers throwing the ball at him, and I was running around in front of him, behind him. So that's things that we do, and then he asked if we could, he just said he just needs more reps of being around people in the pocket. So he asked if we could do that. We said, no problem, we'll figure it out.
what's the biggest?
Individual drills too, incorporate bodies around them.
Yeah, we always do some
Yeah.
version of that.
Yeah.
A lot of pocket movement and individual stuff with quarterbacks. So that's the individual part's not new in that regard, but yeah, the 7-on-7 will be a little new. You guys will see something a little bit different.
Ryan, what's the biggest jump between now, this part of training camp and the first preseason game? What do you need to see the offense do? And given the fact that you said, acknowledge there's only 3 preseason games, not 4, a little more urgency?
Absolutely. I mentioned that to the unit last night. It's August 6th. Last year on August 6th, we were still in walkthroughs. We didn't put pads on until August 18th. And so we're well ahead of where we were a year ago. But the flip side is that the urgency's got to pick up for us to be where we want to be come the opening weekend. So yeah, urgency, focus, detail, those things that have all got to pick up kind of across the board, all positions, so we can execute better in practice and feel good about going into the game.
Coaches, one of the things with the young guys, even like a Carmen, trying to get them mentally ready for the speed of the NFL game. Because, preseason going into regular season, that game picks up, and it's something that could overwhelm them.
Yeah, you just hope you do. You know, that you get a taste of it in the preseason, and every game that you go out there in the preseason, it gets just a little bit faster. But there's nothing that really can prepare you for a live rush when those guys all start playing. You just hope you do get the best in practice, and you got to just adjust.
Yeah.
You hope that it's not too big for them. I don't think it will be, but I do think that there is a substantial adjustment. The speed is legitimate. There's a bunch of guys over there that are kind of trying to take your soul, so you know, you better be ready. That's all I know. It's coming. So you try to keep talking to them. Frank does a great job of getting those guys ready and stressing the importance of staying with your technique, playing within yourself. You don't have to do anything crazy as far as what ends up happening is that every time you put the pads on for the first time, all the things you drilled for the spring and in shorts all just go away. And then it takes a day or two to settle down. And then you go to your first preseason game and it all kind of goes away. And then they come back and you go, oh, okay, that's what it feels like. And then it's just a process, but it's a real adjustment.
Yeah, well,
Coach, with Joe Mixon at 100%, how do you view the running game where you are now compared to last time?
I'm really excited about the running game. I know it's hard to adjust. I know you guys are all out there to practice, but we've had some runs that have popped for pretty good gains. And then there's a bunch of guys that still got to tackle it that aren't live. And so our progress in the run game has been good. I'm excited about where we're headed and how much better we can get between now and the opening weekend. So that's a testament to Frank and those guys up front. They've really bought into how we're doing things, the scheme that we're using, the techniques that Frank teaches, and the detail that they're expected to play with. So I'm optimistic and excited about what we got going on in the run game. I'm anxious to see it against another defense that's going to try to tackle guys, because we got some fun backs to watch this preseason that are going to run the ball, and I think it could be fun for those guys to put a little display on for themselves.
Speaking of those guys, I'm sorry, I just want to follow up on the running backs. Just your take on Evans and what Clark did.
Yeah, he's done a nice job. He's done a nice job carrying the ball. He's got some quickness and suddenness that I wasn't sure about. I didn't see enough tape on him to know how that would look, and it's been impressive. He's again a natural pass catcher, really good route runner for a guy his size. So he's got some really fun skills. He's done a nice job in camp. I'm excited to see him play for real coming up. He's got some real ability.
I actually have a similar question, because Mixon can do a lot. Like, how do you view the role of the backup running back? Because Joe can kind of do whatever.
You gotta have guys that can protect. First of all, it's kind of all these guys can carry the ball. All the guys on our roster are good enough ball carriers, but there's a whole lot of other things that go into it. Got to be able to protect. And so Samaje did a lot of protecting last year, because Gio took the main load of running the ball, and then Samaje split it. And then when Gio was tired on third down, Samaje put it in. So Samaje is kind of a proven commodity. One as a ball carrier, two as a pass protector. And then after that, we're gonna find out on how good these guys are. See him pick up some live blitzes between Chris and Travion and Jacques Patrick, who we kind of joke all around, because he had one scrimmage last year. He got to play no preseason games in one scrimmage, and I don't think he's been tackled yet. So he's big. He's like 250 pounds, I think. That's probably an exaggeration, but he's a big back and he's hard to tackle. So I'm anxious to see these guys carry the ball against a live defense, and then they're going to get some reps in pass pro against these teams in the preseason. So there's a healthy competition in that room. And there's a lot of things that we're looking for besides just being an effective runner that we got to see from those guys. And then when they get a chance to catch the ball in the backfield, what do they do with it? How efficient are they as a receiver? So guys that can do it all is what we're looking for. I know it's not always the easiest thing to find, but I think we got a good room there and good competition.
Coach, you have a lot of weapons on offense, but they all seem to really like each other. And they all just seem to have that goal of, hey, we just want to win. As a coordinator, it has to please you that these guys aren't worried about individual things, but about winning.
That's one of the things that I've always appreciated about the guys on offense over our time here. And in particular, this group is more than maybe it's been, and it's been good. But these guys are on another level. I think you like to hang out together. The best teams I've ever been around have a lot of guys that like to be around each other, both in the locker room and off the field. And I think these guys really do enjoy each other, and they enjoy playing together. Because I think they trust that they're gonna go in and they're gonna play hard. They're gonna do everything that's asked of them to try to win games, and that's all these guys want. They just want to win, just like us, just like all the people in Cincinnati. They want to win, and they want to win bad. And I think that you can feel that from our group. think you can feel their confidence growing in what they're capable of doing, and now we got to go do it. And but that's a huge part of building a team and building an offense that plays well together. Is guys that like each other and root for each other's successes and don't take things personal. And it's not maybe their day. Somebody else is going to get all the targets or whatever, however that shakes out. They don't get down on each other. They're kind of each other's biggest fan, and I think that's important. An important part of the cohesion of an offense is when you got guys that all like each other.
Thank you.
One more question.
Brian, do you have a sense of where you are at the three levels of offense, short, intermediate, and deep? Are you happy with it, or is there one particular area you'd like to see improvement in?
Yeah, I mean, I still think we're looking for improvement down the field. You know, both in guys going up and making plays and finding explosive plays in our offense. It's a little bit hard in practice sometimes because you don't get to feel the momentum offensively, because the ball goes down the field, whether you catch it or not, it comes right back to the spot you were in, and then you just call the next play. So today's going to be fun because we're going to get to move the ball. It's going to be call it, and we're going to go play football. And so then guys hopefully can get the feel of the momentum of what a big play can do for your offense and for your ability to score touchdowns. That's exciting to be able to go see that today. But that's one of the biggest points of emphasis from the spring and through now is continue to find ways to be explosive down the field and the deep balls and all those things down the sideline, down the middle of the field, all those spots that we're trying to take advantage of. So yeah, it still was a focus in the spring. It still is now, and it will be probably throughout the entire season. We'll keep finding ways to work on that because I do think our intermediate game is as good as anybody's in football. Both Joe's accuracy and our receivers' ability to find space and separate in the intermediate range is really good.